Kobe, is Toyota the favorite to win Le Mans for a sixth consecutive time, or will the new competition expose any potential flaws that might have gone unnoticed in previous years?
No, Ben. I don't think Toyota is going to be the outright favorite to win Le Mans this year. You listed all of the different manufacturers that we have coming in. It's going to be quite an incredible race. I think joining Toyota, you already said it: Cadillac, Van Wall, Porsche, Ferrari, Peugeot, Glickenhaus. It's going to the competition. It's going to be through the roof this year. It's going to be 124 hours of Le Mans that people will want to see and not miss, because this is going to be the most competitive race we've seen for the overall win in a while, since the I guess the golden days of the LMP1 hybrid era, when you had Audi, Porsche, and Toyota. Those are the days most recent days when it was really competitive at Le Mans. But since Audi and Porsche went away from LMP1 and we only had Toyota, then a few privateer entries, it's just mostly been a Toyota show at Le Mans. They've been running the table, although they've had a few issues here and there. But I think overall that Toyota is going to have a tough task at hand if they want to win Le Mans for a sixth consecutive time, because the other manufacturers they're going to be bringing their A game and a lot of leeway Toyota had before. That's going to be gone now. There is going to be little room for error, because the other manufacturers are going to be ready to pounce, and Toyota they're going to have to step it up big time if they want to win at Le Mans in 2023.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? With all these new manufacturers, we've been waiting a little while for this. I mean, Toyota in the WEC for the last couple of years, as Kobe said, really haven't had much of a challenge. I mean, last year they had one grandfathered Alpine to fight against, which did give them a good run for most of the season, but was overpowered in the end, and the Glickenhaus, which didn't complete the season. This year we've got all those manufacturers coming in as you listed, Ben. I mean, the big test, and we'll kind of see where we stand, is when we get to Sebring in a couple of weeks for the first WEC round. It's on the Friday, of course, of the Sebring 12-hour weekend, so that's going to be an interesting one. And then we've got Spa as well before we get to Le Mans a couple of weeks after that. So there's all these new cars that are still going to have their teething problems. I mean, in that sense, Toyota will have the advantage because they know what they've got underneath them mechanically and reliability-wise, whereas some of the others haven't got that. Okay, some of them will be running in IMSA competition as well, and have done at Daytona, and then we've got the 12 hours of Sebring to come. So they'll have plenty of data as well. It's going to be really, really interesting. This big 100th running at Le Mans we've all been the mouth-watering at the prospect of it for some time, and it's great to see the entry list finally out. And most of the driver names filled in as well. A couple of blanks here and there, they'll get filled in time, we can be sure.
Guys, if we could put us all on screen here, because I want to be talking to you when I say this, because my sports car knowledge is a little bit more limited. Over the last few years, I've been trying to get into it a little bit more. I believe Toyota first won this race in 2018, which was the first year that they really only had the privateer teams to compete against. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so they've started this run of winning when, with no disrespect to the Rebellions of the world or Glickenhauses of the world, we always knew that Toyota was going to be favored to win the race each of the last, however long it's been, 5 years. So I think Toyota could be in for a little bit of a rude awakening here. I wouldn't put it past them to win a sixth consecutive Le Mans, but I think it's going to be very, very difficult when you look at the massive amount of increased competition that they have, and having not really won this race before, with a level of competition like this. Again, I want to make the disclaimer here that I'm hardly a sports car expert in the sense that you guys are, but I don't see how Toyota could be ruled the absolute overall favorite here. Certainly not in the same way it's been the last 5 years. So there's definitely going to be a lot to continue to pay attention to as the race draws closer. We'll see. Maybe Toyota could surprise us and go out and dominate again, or, as I think we're all expecting here, they may have some much stronger competition than they've had in the last few years.
Well, you can see Toyota is obviously concerned about the competition, or otherwise they would have, brought such a significant update to their hyper. Because I know with the first edition of their Le Mans hypercar, they had a few teething issues as well. The pace was questionable at certain times, and with all of these new manufacturers coming in, they felt like they had to bring a lot of upgrades to this car to be able to keep up with the competition. So obviously Toyota sees that, as I've been saying, they're going to have to be on their A game in this new era of sports car racing. At the very top, they've enjoyed the luxury of having the clear advantage for the last several years, but that advantage is gone now because all these other manufacturers are going to really give them a run for their money, and Toyota might be the ones trying to keep up with the other ones instead of the other way around for the first time in a while.
And let's not forget, just to not rub salt in the wound, but the year before when Toyota did have competition, they had the race in their pocket and broke down on the very last lap.
Yeah.
So they do have form against the bigger teams, but as you say, they've gone away recently. They have had the race all to themselves and the championship for that matter as well. Let's not forget it is part of a world championship, the Le Mans race. So Sebring is going to be really, really interesting when we get to see the Ferrari for the first time, because that hasn't run in IMSA competition. Porsche have, of course, and we've got Cadillac in there as well. So, yeah, Sebring is going to be the real tester. And as I say, we've got Spa after that to get us all lined up for Le Mans in June.
All right, it's all coming back to me now because I think that was the year that it was on the same date as the Baku Grand Prix in Formula One. And then the year after that, we had the weird situation because I think all the LMP1 cars faced trouble. So we had an LMP2 leading outright in the closing stages. So it was a very interesting period in sports car racing there, as we're now entering an even more interesting period, I think, with all these different manufacturers coming back in. So it's going to be great to see.